podcast one time, but if you have the gumption just to walk up with
I've got you, man.
200 people and just say, you know what, cut a promo for my podcast, I will assume that you have good moxie. I will assume that the Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast is a good one. I haven't heard a minute of it, but I'm assuming it's great.
Check
and I
us
can't
out.
wait to listen to it.
Check us out.
Cheers, man. Good luck out there.
Welcome to the Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast, where we help you take the next step in your fantasy journey. Here's your host.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Jake, and I'm once again joined by my friend Jordan. Jordan, how you doing?
Excellent.
That's
Jake,
it.
you are in a great mood.
I'm
Before we're waiting for the intro to play, and Jake's singing. He's dancing over there.
I'm singing. I'm
He's-
dancing. Can't sing or dance any of it, or we'll get a copy strike. So I'm not going to tell you
Yeah.
what I was singing. We're live on YouTube.
But
YouTube.
it was cool.
Oh, it was hip. It was all over the songs that are all over the TikTok right now.
Yeah.
Joey in the chat, we're live on YouTube, youtube.com/Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast. Says, let's go. Started 1-0 in 9 of 11 leagues. Love that.
La la.
Justin Talley, or I suppose that's fine. Also a new face, I believe. Arizona in the house. Good to have you here, my guy. And then Joey, only loss came in one of our leagues. And rightfully so, because we're elite in our leagues. So, Jordan, how'd you do week 1?
I did pretty good, all things considered. I'm in 6th this year, and I lost in 2.
Lost in 2. So 4-2, not bad.
4-2, not so bad. What about you? How are
Well,
you faring after week 1?
I'm going to be honest. We've done so many. I have to look and see how many leagues we're in. Or I'm in.
That
because
means
it's-
that he did not do well, folks.
Oh, let
That
me
means
tell
he
you, I'm
did
in
not
1,
do
2,
well.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 leagues. I only lost once. So.
and
it-
who was it to?
And it was to you by 1.5 points. Relax. Relax. Quick
rich.
shout out to our beautiful wives who joined their first fantasy league this year with us. So that's very exciting. If any of you have friends who have significant others as well, do a league with your friends and their significant others. Winner gets dinner paid for. It gives you an excuse to get together. Win-win, right?
It's great, yeah. And it gives him a peek into the life that we're so passionate about, you know?
Yes. I'm
'Cause-
gonna say I don't think Caitlin fully gets it, but she can appreciate the grind.
Oh, yeah, and talking trash. I mean, the trash talk is fierce right now in those leagues. So,
I agree.
keeps it fun. Keeps it fun.
Yes. Jordan, do me a favor.
Yes.
Give me one tiny scoot back.
Scoot back.
Never mind. That's fine. I got your head cut off a little, but they can all see your beautiful dome. It's all good.
Do you hear? I can hear. I got you. Keep talking.
Okay, fine. A little behind the scenes stuff for you. So, guys, week 1, I hope everyone had a good week 1. I know I sat down and watched Red Zone. I was just happy. It was just good to see Scott Hansen talking. Jordan, are you a Red Zone guy?
I love me some red zone. We can all agree that besides Matthew Berry, Scott Hansen has the best job in America right now.
So I collect sports cards. It's a little hobby of mine. You know, had some kids, had to sell some off, so I'm kind of in the downtime of it, right? Right now, I look to my right, and I have 2 cards in my display case. Only 2. I
Okay.
have an Aaron Rodgers signed card it was a wedding gift from my wife. And you know what the other one is?
What?
A Matthew Berry signed card.
all right.
He's elite. Anyways, let's get into week 2. Before we do it, we got news. We got all types of news. So,
Yes,
Jordan, why don't you start with the injury news?
Injury news.
Injury
All right,
news
so we got
start.
2 major news stories.
Yeah.
Not injury related.
Correct.
Let's hit the injury ones here first. So, surprise inactive yesterday. So, we're recording on Tuesday. So, Monday night game. A surprise inactive was Christian McCaffrey with a calf Achilles injury. So, surprising. I think Jake, you even had to put out like a quick press release there. A
Yeah,
quick alert
on
to
the Facebook page.
on the Facebook page because it was a shock. Like he was unexpected that he was going to be out.
Yep.
So Jordan Mason filled in and killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, played awesome. It was like 28 carries, 100 odd something yards and a touchdown. You love to see it. that is the waiver wire pickup of the week for sure, or one of them. We'll get to that in a little bit to snag Jordan Mason up. But something to keep an eye on because what's his status? You know?
Yeah.
I think officially he's week to week.
Officially. I mean, which
I don't think is an official designation. So
if he's
questionable, I'm sure.
If he's playing, sorry about that. If Christian McCaffrey is out, Mason is a running back 1. You should start him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Agreed? Yeah, we agree.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. But I think it's important that we're still hoping for Christian McCaffrey to be playing. So.
Yeah, and I'm also curious too. Like, do you think Christian McCaffrey comes back on a pitch count a little bit? Do you think that Jordan Mason played great? Do you think that they he gets a couple of touches and stuff like that, even if Christian McCaffrey is back? It's one of those things that and we talked a lot about this. Hard to repeat as overall fantasy number 1.
Correct.
To do it 2 years in a row, Christian McCaffrey not off to a great start to defend the crown there for himself. But
I still think he does.
Jordan Mason played great.
I still think he does, even after missing.
Okay, well he hasn't played. Okay, well,
I know,
got
but
some catching up to do.
Okay, I hear you. I'm just saying I still think he does. All right, keep her going.
He's tied for last right now.
He's tied for last. There's probably some people behind him who have negative yards.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you're right. All right, a couple other injuries. This one just hits a little too close to home. Friday night in Brazil, Jordan Love on the last drive, basically the last 2 plays of the game, got taken down, which looked to be a nasty, scary injury, a knee injury or ankle or whatever it was at the time. They ruled out an ankle injury. They're worried about the knee, so they did MRI. The worst case scenario of, torn something that would keep him out the whole season has been avoided.
Good.
So it's likely that he's going to be missed a couple of weeks. For sure he's out week 2. Malik Willis is getting the start. Jake, your Ryan Tannehill take of the Packers.
I know.
Ryan Tannehill is looking pretty good right now. But Malik Willis will get the start, and hopefully Jordan Love, they reevaluate, come back week 3. So the latest is, he could play week 3. I'd be shocked if he played week 3.
Yeah.
But for sure week 2 he's out.
Malik Willis, some people will probably pick him up. He holds a little value because he's going to be running, right? And that's useful in fantasy. Unless it's a super deep league, you don't want to start him this week, correct?
I think everything's getting taken down a notch on
Everywhere.
the Packers offense. Like Jaden Reed had just an incredible game. It was awesome. I've been hyped about Jaden Reed for a while, and I'm just not the same about him when Malik Willis is throwing the football.
No. Yeah. So, bump everyone down a little. You're probably not starting Malik Willis unless it's a super deep league. So.
Yep. Then the last injury I want to talk about, Puka Nacua, heading to IR. So at least 4 weeks for him. That stinks. Yeah. Cooper Kupp gets a huge boost.
We've talked about how much we love Cooper Kupp. We loved him beforehand. Love him even more now. 14 receptions, over 100 yards, a touchdown. I mean, there's no reason he couldn't do that again next week. Right? So
I want to
go ahead.
See how many targets he had. That's what.
It was over 20, I believe.
You love to see that.
Yeah. So, Cooper Kupp,
21 targets.
Yeah. Cooper Kupp, wide receiver 1. He's in the top 10 this week, with our rankings. And who's the guy to own? Who's the next? Is it a tight end? Is it Parkinson? Is it Demarcus Robinson?
Demarcus Robinson. That's kind of there.
Yeah. Not super excited about any of them. Probably Demarcus Robinson could be on your waiver wire this week, if we're being honest. He could be.
Yeah.
For me, that's not someone I'm using a waiver priority on, though, right? So if you have the second, just let him go, see if he gets through, and then go pick him up if you want.
Yep. Put Jordan Mason on the top of that list, and then you can add whoever you want behind him.
Yeah, for sure.
On your waiver list, so that's Puka Nacua. All right, there's a couple other injury things, but we'll get to them when we're talking about our other players here a little bit later today. So a little bit of smaller stuff, but 2 news stories worth following. First one, Tyreek Hill on Sunday before the game was detained by police. Kind of a little dramatic scene. They released the body cam footage and stuff like that. He obviously played on Sunday and played well, but that is something to monitor. Like they're following it. They're following up. It's going to be a whole back and forth here, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on for Tyreek Hill. And that situation. But wild news story as we prepare for Sunday game.
Just nuts. I thought I was actually so he has a checkered past, right? Okay, that is fact. Okay. I was very surprised on how he handled it, though. Like in the interviews afterwards, he had a pretty nice comment of just like, "What if I wasn't Tyreek Hill?" Because that was scary. Like that could be scary.
Thought. Yeah.
Like we don't need to get into like the politics of this sort of stuff, but everyone who lives in America knows why that's an extra layer of scary for someone like him, right? And I mean, I watched the body cam, a video. Seemed the whole thing was just nuts. Just the whole. Then you got Calais Campbell coming in. If anyone doesn't know, he's a defensive lineman. He's been around the league forever. The dude is known. The fact that he's like 6'8", like he's a massive human being. They have to handcuff him. Just crazy. Just unfortunate. And he did get I read today he did get his citations. So he was speeding, whatever it was, But, in my humble opinion, did it need to come to that? Probably not, right?
No.
So
absolutely not. And obviously more news, more details and stuff are forthcoming and things like that. But, yeah, right now it's obviously just the hype of like, it happened, the news story comes out, we release this body cam footage, we all see it. So there's clear reactions to all of this.
Yep.
So it's something to follow. He played.
Yeah.
And he played really well. He's going to continue to play. It doesn't seem like something that's going to lead to suspensions or anything like that. But yeah, weird story starting week 1.
Yeah.
Second story I have is about Deshaun Watson out of Cleveland. New allegations, new lawsuits of sexual assault. So again, just compounding from some of these earlier 2019, 2020, 2018 cases that had all stacked up and really marred Deshaun Watson's career. Jake, what are your thoughts? I mean, this guy should not be in the NFL. That's my
yeah. So I mean, on one side, you'll have people who will say innocent until proven guilty, right? Because he's never been found guilty of anything. He's settled, right? He's settled lawsuits, and at this point, if you're defending someone who has had this many civil suits against him, you're just being naive, right? You're just defending to be defending. This is just a good example. He's a trash person. The Cleveland Browns, again, look terrible because they're a trash organization who... Well, I'm sorry, but you knew all this crap, and they said, "Nah, it's fine." So then they give him
and they said, "No, not only is it
guaranteed.
fine, guarantee the money." Yeah,
They know
that contract is insane.
God, they knew all this crap. They knew all this crap, and they're like, "You know what? He deserves fully guaranteed."
Yeah.
The Cleveland Browns said it doesn't matter anything about what he's being accused of. It doesn't matter. We just need a quarterback.
Yeah. We can get to the football of this in a second, but that right there is to me the whole thing. It's like we knew it, and it doesn't matter.
And it can.
That's just a bad.
Things continue.
Bad role model. Bad example.
Things
bad taste in your
continue
mouth.
to come out, and why are you surprised? So again, they look terrible, right? And then like Jordan and I on the podcast here, we've been talking about Deshaun Watson since this happened. That was our first year, right? And we talked about how for us we weren't going to encourage anyone to take him, just on a moral standpoint, right? We just hated it. And now
it's a football standpoint.
From a football standpoint, he's terrible. Yeah. He might be the worst starting quarterback in the NFL.
Well, yeah, there's Bryce Young too, but yes, he's pretty bad.
The difference is that Bryce Young isn't paid $230 million.
That is true. Yeah.
He's younger. He's still developing. This guy was good, did terrible things, got more money than he should have ever even. He got $230 million more than he should have gotten. This is just like watching like the Penguin from Batman win. That's all this is. Just like a terrible person does terrible things.
No one wants that movie. No one wants that movie.
And he got all his money. And then he's just awful. Jameis, who's worse, Daniel Jones or Deshaun Watson? I'll say Deshaun Watson. Just terrible. He looks like he has no confidence. Listen, Daniel Jones is not very good either. I'm going to be honest. But if you're asking me, they're really close. But if you're going to ask me which one I want to hate more, that's easy.
Well, Easy.
Easy.
Yeah. Which one do you want to root for? I haven't, tongue in cheek tossed out Bryce Young. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Daniel Jones.
I'm not. I want Daniel Jones to win a Super Bowl.
I want Jameis Winston. Yeah, I want Jameis Winston to.
But they won't do it. But they won't do it.
The money is insane. The money is like,
jeez,
just incomprehensible. The cap hits.
This just makes me mad. That's all this is. Yeah. It's like, what are we doing? It makes me so happy to not be a Cleveland Browns fan. Because, like, if this was happening to the Packers, I would be embarrassed. You're like, there's just no way out. That's the problem. It's going to take the owner to say, okay, we're done. Because Kevin Stefanski can't say it. He can't be the one. Because the owner said we want him. And Kevin Stefanski was like, I guess, he was vetoed, right? So, just trash human being, trash franchise, trash. Start Jameis today. Oh, jeez. God.
We obviously have strong feelings about it, as I'm sure many people do. Keeping it moving because this story it's not done. It's not
done. The NFL did come out today, and they're going to wait for this process to go. So he's not going to be suspended or anything like that. Because why?
No, he's going to be at some point. Like, my shoulder, I'm questionable.
Oh, ouch. Don't ask for a massage. Jesus. All right, move on.
All right.
God. All right. Thursday Night Top Gun. So this is a guy that we like this week. Not the high-end people. So we got the Dolphins versus the Bills. We're not picking, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon. What's the last name?
Well, let's
once and for all,
because Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane are both banged up. They might not even play.
Anyway. Jeff Wilson. Here we go.
Or Jalen Wright, the rookie.
Again, on the other side, we're not doing Josh Allen. You're not doing James Cook. All those guys should be starting, right?
Yep.
So today we went Khalil Shakir. In watching the game, was the stat line super great last week? No, right? But got a touchdown, which a very athletic touchdown, may I add. And I think as of right now, he's their wide receiver one on that team right now. That's who I'm starting.
Keon Coleman's a rookie, obviously. I think stat-wise, he had like more yards or whatever, but it's Khalil Shakir.
Yeah. So a guy who touchdown upside, full point PPR, he's even more valuable right now. But this is the type of guy that's going to do drag routes, your in routes. He's your slot guy. Full point PPR, again, he's going to give you more. But could he have 7 catches? Absolutely. So this is a bigger throw in the dark than last week, obviously, but a guy who has flex appeal, I would say, this week.
Yeah, I mean, in last week we talked about waiver wire pickups we liked, and he was one of them. We said, hey, he's owned at less than 50% of leagues, you should pick him up because he has that potential to be this number one target. Started showing it a little bit. We'll look to see that grow against the Dolphins here.
A guy that you could probably pick up, may be able to pick up on on your waiver wire this week too.
It's Khalil Shakir.
So a little later on. Jordan, did you make a graphic for our waiver wire? Okay.
I did not.
You forgot.
And by me, I mean the
graphics
but
department.
We could fold that in next week. I like that, Jake.
I thought we were going to. That was the point. It's fine. So we talked. Let's just quickly talk.
Who's we?
Okay, that's fair. It's been a busy few days.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We'll do it next week.
No. Behind the scenes, it was my son's baptism. Jordan was there, so we were a little busy. Anywho, guys, what's your waiver wire look like? Let's just talk about that really quickly. If you're listening Tuesday night, waiver wires will probably go in tonight, right? For most leagues.
Yeah, overnight into Wednesday. Yeah.
Into Wednesday. So it's Mason, right? Number 1. Number 2, though, for me, I'm probably going Justice Hill. Full point PPR, or really, he just took over the pass catching for the running backs for the Ravens last week. Also, they talked about how they're going to try and split it up a little bit more with Derrick Henry so that they can keep him fresh for later on. If you're in a full point PPR, I want him absolutely. I might take him over Mason because he might have longer season return. But
I would not take him over Mason, but I like that. Another one in the chat I see Joey saying is Isaiah Likely.
That's
I think
a good one. So I think those are really
offense was a little surprising, like which guys ended up like being the primaries there. So Isaiah Likely obviously had a huge game. I think there was a regression there, but still a great waiver wire pickup. Justice Hill, totally agree. I mean, 6 receptions, like you love that out of the backfield.
We saw a lot of splitting that maybe you weren't expecting, right? You saw Justice Hill get more action than we thought he would. Bucky Irvin got more in Tampa Bay. I'm thinking Tank Bigsby had the same amount of rushing attempts as Travis Etienne this past year. Jordan hated that. I love me some Etienne.
Etienne gave up a touchdown.
I know.
It's okay. We don't need to.
We talked about. J.K. or we haven't yet talked about J.K. Dobbins is going to be a big one you'll see this week, which then kind of transitions us into who we like Sunday. Jordan, why don't you talk about Gus Edwards and why you liked him?
Yeah, so I was between J.K. Dobbins here and Gus Edwards. J.K. Dobbins felt a little bit more like you would start him anyway. I mean, he had such a good game last week. So we went just a little bit deeper in the sleeper pool here and brought up Gus Edwards. In fact, so deep in sleeper and picking Gus Edwards, I didn't even have a current picture of him in a Chargers jersey. Didn't have the fun helmet on. So but so again, even though it's clearly J.K. Dobbins' backfield, which I love, and you should start J.K. Dobbins. I think that Gus Edwards, when we're taking that approach of someone you might not typically start, for the reason they're going against the Panthers. The Panthers look just full steam ahead for that first overall pick, just right out of
again.
I mean, I think the Saints are going to look pedestrian the rest of the year, and that's going to make this look even more embarrassing for the Panthers, right? I mean, the Saints put up like 45 points or 47 points on them. So what I think is going to happen is that they're going to get out to the Chargers are going to get out a lead. Jim Harbaugh will run the ball a gazillion times, and they're just going to be protecting a lead. I think they won't need to use J.K. Dobbins as much because they'll get out to a lead early. Gus Edwards benefits from that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking me who's the running back that's going to salt the game away, right? Who's going to pound the game away? I would guess it's Gus Edwards. Knowing what J.K. Dobbins, the injury history, right? He's not really the guy right now, week 2, that you want to pound the rock with in the fourth quarter. So... And plus, I think Gus Edwards has some touchdown upside as well. So a little deeper, like you mentioned.
Don't get me wrong. If you're looking at your waiver wire and both J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards are there, you should take J.K. Dobbins. Yes. He is, after week 1, it looks like he's the one, the clear-cut number 1 back there. Again, assuming J.K. Dobbins is already on a team, or you would look for Gus Edwards.
Yep. The other guy we have here is Alec Pierce. Finally doing something. Just had a really monster week last week. Long touchdown. Anthony Richardson looked great going up against Green Bay, who just let up 37 points. Hate to hear that. But I think what we want, what is intriguing here is that long touchdown upside, and Alec Pierce, through 1 week, has shown to be that guy, right? Plus, I mean, like I mentioned, the Packers' defense was not the best last week.
A little porous for a new defensive coordinator who's supposed to be good with defensive backs.
Yeah. So, Jair Alexander probably going to be on Michael Pittman throughout the whole game. So, that opens up Alec Pierce. I don't know if this is more of a love of Alec Pierce or our hatred, our sadness of the Green Bay Packers defense.
Can it be both?
Yeah. Eric Stokes, not the guy, let me tell you.
Not the guy, no.
I think Alec Pierce could really have another good game this week. So we've kind of picked 2 guys that were deeper this week. So really aiming those, both these guys flex appeal. That's kind of where we're at on those.
Yeah, the other thing that I like about Alec Pierce this week, Josh Downs also is a little banged up. He's probably not going to play. Adai Mitchell obviously is a rookie, going into week 2, so he's still getting comfortable with the system. So I like just the continuity there. I see Joey in the chat talking about Anthony Richardson. He made 9 completions. It just the arm strength. It's like everything that we were looking at when he was coming out of college. We were like, wow, he's so incredible, but he's a little unfinished. I mean, that's what you saw. I mean, he had basically the same amount of yards as C.J. Stroud on a third as many completions.
Yeah, right.
Like that's what we're looking for. I think that continues. I think I think that's going to be the story of him this year. He put up 27 points on 9 completions. That's just some weird stats, and I think we'll continue to get more of those. But again, touchdown upside with Alec Pierce going against Eric Stokes in Green Bay.
Yeah, it's actually worse than he said. He was 9 of 19. But the 56 yards rushing and a touchdown there. So that's why we really like Anthony Richardson as well. And then Monday night, we got Dallas Goedert. We went tight end on this one. So
This is a deep cut. This is a deep cut on Monday because those Eagles, who do you pick on the Eagles? Like, it's not A.J. Brown. You can't have him because you're starting him no matter what. Devonta Smith, you're starting him no matter what. Saquon, you're starting him no matter what. Jalen Hurts, you're probably starting him no matter what. Like, who else is on the team?
And then it's the same thing for the Falcons. I mean, it's Bijan, you're starting. Drake London, you're starting, who had a bad game, but we expect him to bounce back. Kyle Pitts, you're starting. Kirk Cousins, I'd say you're probably starting. Depending on what your team looks like.
I can't put him.
But it
says
says
primetime game. You can't put Kirk Cousins.
If you're looking on our stream right now, and we'll post these graphics later on our socials, but Kirk Cousins in prime time? No thanks. Listen, again, deep cut, a deeper kind of guy here. But a guy most people are drafting to be their tight end 1. Don't panic is my... Week 2 is when people overreact. People overreact like nobody's business. Drake London had 12 yards. Don't start him? Trade him away? No. Play him. You drafted Dallas Goedert in the 8th, 9th round, somewhere in there, right? 7th, 8th, 9th. I don't remember off the top of my head. To be your tight end 1, so do it. Another example about not overreacting. Trey McBride, you know how much I loved him. He had 5 receptions, 38 yards, whatever it was. But you drafted him to start, and it's too early to give up. So don't freak out, right? So a guy who has touchdown upside if they can get into the red zone. Plus, the Falcons' defense doesn't seem to be doing all that great. So they're the average.
Just to clarify, because I'm not, you're likely Dallas Goedert could be on your waiver wire right now. So good streamer here too. He was drafted as tight end 12 in the 12th round.
Okay.
So
really,
there was 11 tight ends taken.
He must have slipped when we were originally when we were doing our NFC East breakdowns. I don't believe he was that low, so he must have really slipped a few rounds
higher. Yeah. Well, Brock Bowers got drafted, and things like that. So
anywho, so there you go, guys. That is week 2 or our week 2 preview of the NFL season. Very excited. Thursday night game is going to be a good one, and then we got some good games on the docket. So
yeah, I'm excited. I feel like last year, I feel like it was like we laughed at Thursday night games. It was just like, oh, here we go. It's the Panthers Jaguars.
Yeah.
Like woohoo, Thursday night.
Oh, we'll get some of those. We'll get some of those.
It's exciting. I like that at the start of the season we have some more fun.
It was. I know. I saw a thing that was mentioning that there's a game in Munich this year. Munich, Germany.
Yeah.
Panthers Giants.
Ooh.
And the thing said, our last joke against Germany from World War II. I was like, that's hilarious.
God, I can't wait to wake up at 8:30 in the morning to watch the Panthers and Giants and play in Germany.
Oh my goodness! All right, so there you guys. That's week 2. You can follow us on social media anywhere. Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast. Jordan, unless you have anything else you want to say,
go get those dubs.
Take care. Be good, guys.
Listening to the Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast. Follow and subscribe on Facebook and YouTube at the Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast.